Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of our interview skills course. Today we will be going over presentation and first impressions. In our course today, we are going to be teaching about dress code, handshake and introduction, body language, and all of these things combined for online interview settings. So let's get right into it. To start off, let's talk about dress code. No matter where the interview is for, whichever company, level, or position, it is important that you dress professionally. We hope your interviewer will judge you alone on your credentials and experience and not your appearance. However, a professional look can improve your first impressions that show responsibility and effort. We want to show you some examples of proper and professional clothing, which should be worn along a composed face and combed hair. First impressions can make all the difference. Of course, wardrobe is just one piece of that. So let's take a look at some examples on the next slide. You should usually be wearing business professional clothing to your interviews. However, these outfits can vary based on the professionality of the interview or style of the interview. So you can look up in more specific based on the job that you are applying to. However, a general tip is that it's better to dress up rather than look too casual, because remember, first impressions count. Some examples of business professional clothing that can be paired with each other are formal dress, skirts, blouses, blazers, slacks, and pantsuits. With your blazer or button-up shirt, a tie or bow tie can also be worn as an option. Of course, if you're more comfortable wearing one style of outfit over the other, then you should represent yourself with your clothing. Wear what makes you feel confident. You do not need to go buy a $100 pantsuit or dress. The key point to take away here is that you need to wear clean, cut, professional clothing, which can be bought for a range of prices. Here are a few outfits that we have shown in our examples. These are plain and neutral colored blazers and pants or skirts. You can wear a tie or simple sweater vest inside your blazer if you would like. Dresses and blouses with more simple colors and patterns are also okay. And just a reminder that what you see here is a typical interview clothing. A tip to decide if you want to wear a different piece of clothing other than the ones we've shown here is, do you show responsibility and professionalism with your outfit? If you do, then go for it, because we want you to be represented in your interview accurately. As you can also see, all of the hairstyles that are shown here keep the hair out of the face. Make sure not to fidget with your hair either. So if you have a habit of doing that, tie your hair back in a ponytail or a bun if that helps. Keep jewelry, hats, or any other accessories to a minimum, so they don't distract from your actual interview portion. Of course, there are a few exceptions for jobs that require special uniforms, such as a clown or an actor. So if you are one of those, this doesn't really apply to you. Do not be stressed if you do not have the perfect outfit for your day. Just try your best to create a composed look. Professional hair and professional clothing can help you, but a professional attitude and organization on the day of your interview will make the largest impact. The night before, you should get all your materials that you need to take to the interview. This includes your resumes, your cover letters, any letter of recommendations that you need to take with you, and other materials that they have requested to bring along. Some interviews involve a skill portion that they will let you know about beforehand, so you may need to prepare any materials that they have requested then. Multiple copies of a resume is also sometimes nice to have in case they ask for it, or if multiple people are interviewing you. And remember, put these papers in a fold-proof or waterproof sleeve to make sure that they stay pristine, and then pack them up in your bag with all the materials that you will be taking. Here's a quick tip. Make a list of things that need to be done before the interview and what you need to take with you, so that before you leave, you can just do a quick check of everything you need on the list and head out on time. This is a great way to reduce your stress right before the interview and does not forget anything as well. The point of this preparation before you enter the interview is to make sure that you are stress-free leading up to the interview and walking in confidently. We are going to continue those strategies to make your first impressions composed and poised. Our next interview tip is arriving early to the place of the interview. It may seem odd for you to walk in early with nobody there, but it is always okay for you to come in and wait in a waiting room, just to show that you were present and made the extra effort. If the interviewer were to come and look for you a couple minutes early to start, it would be a great first impression for you to already be ready to go. You do not need to come an entire hour early, but make it a rule to come at least 10 minutes early to set for yourself. I always remember that early is on time and on time is late, to make sure that I always show up early for all of my interviews. Another important tip with this is to account for travel time. This includes traffic, parking time, and any walking in between that you will need to do to arrive to the place of your interview. For example, from the parking lot to the building. You do not want to be running into the building with papers and hair flying in all directions. Once you are called into the interview, making a good first impression is very important to continue. You should start out with a strong introduction and a firm handshake. If you would like, you can practice your handshakes with friends and family to make sure that you aren't a flailing wrist or a stiff break handshake. Your strong introduction should include your name and some sort of pleasantry introduction. For example, you can say, "Hi, my name is Rohini, and it's very nice to meet you." Another tip is that you need to be adaptive in these situations in interviews. As much as you can prepare, it is important to change your prepared responses to fit the context and situation. This is just general conversation, of course. For example, it wouldn't make much sense to introduce yourself as Bob if the interviewer calls you into the interview by name. For example, if they ask, "Hi, Bob, how are you? We are ready for you." It would be very odd for you to answer, "My name is Bob." Instead, you can omit that part and just say, "Hello, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you. I can come in now for my interview." One thing to maintain during the interview that you can prepare for beforehand is to rid yourself of any nervous actions or distractions that may bother you during the interview. If your blazer is itchy or your shoes are too tight, it is okay not to wear them and opt for another form of professional attire. Do not be adjusting your hair or repositioning it too much in between your interview. As silly as it may sound, you can practice how you're going to walk in and sit down, and then practice answering your questions while looking at yourself in the mirror, just to see if you have any of these nervous actions. Any nervous tics or little things that bother you while talking can slowly be eliminated. For example, if you tap your foot on the floor, then make sure before you start your interview that you firmly plant them on the floor once you've sat down. If you play with your hair tie on your wrist, then take it off before you enter the interview room. If you fiddle with your hands or your nails, interlock your hands and then rest them on your lap. These are just small ways to help with some of the nervous tics, and there are many more that you can use. Your full focus can go towards answering your questions, and you will appear more confident if you get rid of these nervous actions. It is okay if it takes time to get rid of them, so start identifying and practicing ways to prevent them starting now. With the current COVID situation, we also wanted to keep in mind the importance of preparing for online interviews as well. These were very common interview styles even before COVID, if you were working remotely or from a different location. We will mention a few more tips on how to get ready and join these online interviews. First off, just like we want to arrive early to an in-person interview, you should also be set up and prepped at least 10 minutes before your call. Keep in mind that your computer may take some time to join the call or do any other technology issues. To make sure that you enter the call with good lighting and a good background, and no white noise in the background, you can take a practice video by opening up the camera or video app on your computer to take a test video of what you will appear like and sound like on your call. Another helpful tip is to reduce your join time for the call. Download any calling program such as Zoom or Microsoft Teams so that you can just click and join the call with ease. This may also involve you making a free account, so keep that in mind. Also, you will need to give permission for that app to access your webcam or Microsoft for the call. So practice doing those things all the time before your interview. Most call rooms will have a waiting room that you can join if you enter the interview early. So you will not interrupt any previous candidate or interrupt them setting up. Showing up in the waiting room at least a few minutes early and being prepped to join the call with a friendly smile is another great way to improve your first impressions. Another tip with online interviews is to keep in mind wait time between talking. A lot of times there's a slight lag between them talking and someone's signal could be glitchy. So leave a second or two when the interviewer stops talking, and then when you begin to speak, you will ensure that you do not interrupt them. That's all we have today for our lesson on first impressions and preparedness. If you have any questions, you can feel free to send an email to either of the addresses listed on your screen. Thank you for listening to day 2, and we will see you back soon for day 3, where we will be discussing elevator pitches.